three-point shot has been huge for Kansas State. They've made 5 of them. After going 1 for 12 in their round of 32 game Sunday. Gilgeous Alexander, so shifty. To Kentucky a chance to take the lead. Keep an eye on Knox, bottom of your screen. No, Gilgeous Alexander will go. And the little scoop. Kentucky.
And that's what Buffalo is going to have to do. Use the quickness of their guards to outmatch the size of Kentucky.
Gilgeous Alexander finishes with a right hand pace here at our first game. We've got Ohio State and Gonzaga coming up next as we'll move into the West region for the second game. Gilgeous Alexander goes on. Shaquille Jones has picked up those minutes. He's played terrific both in the SEC tournament and on Thursday against Davidson. Another one and done for Buffalo. Gilgeous Alexander back on the floor.
Kentucky playing with so much more purpose and focus early on today.
Gilgeous Alexander spins, goes to the rack, score it, and one.
Play call. Just give him the rock, or he'll find the rock. He'll score it.
Harris now with 6. Gilgeous Alexander goes right by Massenberg.
And with Knox on the bench right now, it's up to Diallo to make sure he's the facilitator.
Gilgeous Alexander with the answer. 7 3-point attempts. Here's another one going up. Too strong, contested well by Diallo, and Gabriel runs it down. Here comes Kentucky. Gilgeous Alexander all the way in and finishes at the rim. McKenna Smart with 3 fouls as well. Starts his half on the bench. Harris misses on the 3, and here come the Wildcats.
Coach Oates really upset that time, yelling at his players, saying, "We told you to get the ball inside the Perkins." And
of Kentucky, Coach Cal with his freshman. And, of course, Nate Oates felt like that was a severe advantage that they'd be able to exploit. We'll find out. 10:20 remaining in regulation. Gilgeous Alexander. Wow. So silky smooth.
His shot was going to get blocked. Made that extra pass. That's what you have to do against teams like Kentucky. You can talk about exploiting their youth, but you better trust each other first and foremost.
Massenberg with 18. Gilgeous Alexander answers. Jordan kicks it to Harris. Steps into a 3. Short. Gabriel wanted to move it. Knox has to run it down. Buffalo gets back well. Gilgeous Alexander takes the contact and scores. On the take goes Will McGarity. His first basket, part of that international flair for Davidson and Bob McKillop. McGarity from Sweden. Gilgeous Alexander with Stephen F. Austin. They know all about the big upsets. That's a turnover. Gilgeous Alexander goes right by Goodmanson, scores it. Quick points in the first half. A lot more free-flowing offense for Davidson. McGarity wrestling for it. Plenty. Oh, knocked away. Gilgeous Alexander, another steal. And 2 more. I'll tell you though, Gabriel closing out. Those hands were in the rafters. Coming after Aldridge.
Now that'll make you speed up the shot. And fade back.
Serious wingspan from Gabriel coming right at us on the closeout. Gilgeous Alexander's been great defensively. Running the show offensively as well. He's had a couple lobs. Steps inside the arc. Friendly bounce for Shai Gilgeous. Under 30 seconds to go. And Diallo knocks it free. And a score on the other end. That was almost a foul.
By Connecticut, Kevin Ollie. I think the key player when you look at Kentucky against this tough defense of Tennessee is Shai Gilgeous Alexander. His control, the way he plays with poise.
Knox thought about it. They get it to the corner for a 3, and boy, what a start.
The ball anywhere nearly like they did, but we anticipated that because of the length and the defensive ability of Kentucky.
Tennessee starts out 1 of 9 and 0 of 4 from 3. 1 of 9 and 0 for 4 from 3.
And I compare that to yesterday. They didn't miss a shot.
Gilgeous Alexander, tough runner.
He can play.
Enjoyed here over this tournament is the development of Kalea Jones, who's setting a high screen here. Number 1 on the shot clock, and a throws it up and in.
blend in with other good players. And he's been doing a good job, giving them some positive minutes. They're a very deep team.
Gilgeous Alexander just blew by 2 defenders in an easy layup.
They need a little spurt. They are really flat as can be from what I've witnessed. And that flatness has come because of the effort and what Kentucky has done. They got them on their heels. They're not playing that aggressive basketball Tennessee is known for.
And at one point late in the season, too, Coach Calipari went with Gilgeous Alexander and Quade Green on the floor at the same time. What a luxury to have 2 point guards.
They played well together, too. They did a game where they just excelled together.
6 on the shot clock, and Gilgeous Alexander, he freed up the field. A 75% free throw shooter. He comes up short there.
Maybe a little stop here defensively. You get a little, keep that momentum going. You want to go on halftime feeling good.
8-0 run. Alexander came over to help, but Gilgeous Alexander poured hard work into his shooting when he realized I may not have to be a 4 anymore. I could be a 3. I could play on the wing, and it is paying off at the biggest time.
No question. Did a great job there. I tell you what, they can make a legit case for it. Number 2 seed. They win this conference. I think it's the best conference from top to bottom. The reason I say that, they went head-to-head with the Big 12, who I think's right there with them, and beat the Big 12 and didn't have Auburn in it or Missouri.
Shai Gilgeous
First with Auburn, I think they can make a legit case to the committee.
That was a good pass to Alexander, but he lost it. And now a turnover. And here comes Kentucky and Gilgeous Alexander. He'll make the bucket and get fouled. He's got as many fouls as he does shot attempts. Gilgeous Alexander, how smooth is that?
Had they made some free throws, they would have had another banner flying high.
Let's see what they do out of the break. They look low for Washington and don't find him. Gilgeous Alexander, tough shot, but it goes in.
They find him.
There's a steal. 7th turnover for Alabama. Gilgeous Alexander lays it up and in.
Nice play right there. The teams who finish 8 and 10 in conference play get to play those teams over and over again. I make one exception at 8 and 10, and that's the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame because of Bonzie Colson.
He's been hurt. A lot of teams have had injuries. You're a Notre Dame guy.
7 degrees of my family.
You're a Notre Dame guy. Gilgeous Alexander.
He can play. He understands how to play. I was hoping to come back to school, but his stock is going up right now. We talk about Shai Gilgeous Alexander.
He's going to have to shoot it with 5 on the shot clock. The fadeaway goes down.
And Dan Shai back in the win. His mother screaming and yelling. Why doesn't the coach give you more PT playing time?
We want to leave Gabriel open today for a 3. Gilgeous after the screen launches. He knocks it down. Shooting.
A believer of what Kentucky could accomplish in March.
Kentucky's won 4 of their last 5. Obviously, that Florida game went south on them as Gilgeous Alexander puts it down. And we were really hard having them compete in the midst of that win streak. And then he said, prior to the Florida game, he didn't. And he blames himself. Gilgeous Alexander through the lane.
Well, it might not be Quade Green
that ended the regular season below 500 since 1971. Well earned by Yante Maiden.
I'm a big fan of Grant Williams. There's no doubt about it. Great player for Tennessee.
That's who the coaches voted as the SEC Player of the Year.
And the coaches should have voted for #1 in red. He's been the most dominant player in the SEC all season long. And the numbers prove it.
Shai Gilgeous Alexander unstoppable.
Right now, though, Shai Gilgeous Alexander so silky smooth in this offense, whether it's scoring or facilitating offense for his teammates.
Nearly cookies that time out of Claxton. As Gilgeous Alexander will reset things. Pulls up, puts it through.
Look at the pace of this game, though, Tess. I keep going back to that. The quicker, I said it right off the top, the quicker the game is, it benefits Kentucky. The slower, it benefits Georgia.
Gilgeous Alexander off the glass.
And he has been instant offense.
Alexander, 10 points on 5 of 7. The drive here against Jackson, the right hand, and he'll head to the line. And no one is playing better, more fiery, and more productive than Colin Sexton for Alabama.
Justin, we mentioned this thing. It's not just about the offense, though, and I agree with you. Sexton's been unbelievable here in St. Louis. But their defense that they played against Auburn, an Auburn Tigers team that averaged.
Hands it to Kulachov. Jumper on the way. No. And the long rebound to Richards for Kentucky.
Florida doesn't focus that often on the blocks, so they don't look to the post, even though they have Hayes in there.
Gilgeous Alexander. He's got Kulachov. Nice move. Ball got knocked around. Gilgeous Alexander buries it. Rolls. Everybody's playing for one another. And by his own admission, he said it took a little while to figure out where everybody fit in with this group. Gilgeous Alexander, the drive to the hole with a purpose.
The defense, a couple of screens. They're not really like big banging type screens by Florida. They're exchanging, just moving to open spots and tracking shots.
And the Gators have their largest cushion. Hudson with 14. Gilgeous Alexander, the length.
He didn't shake him much on the first move. Gabriel right there again. Florida's just really amped up.
17 for Hudson. Gilgeous Alexander trying to take over for
Calipari has made. Basically said to his guys at halftime, we are going inside, and already they're getting some fouls called.
Gilgeous Alexander drains the clock's at 14. Knox fires a three. Short. Long rebound tracked down by Diallo.
Kentucky's at least going after the ball on the offensive end now. They've picked up their energy level. They need to hit a shot, though.
They're third in the SEC in rebound. And Gilgeous Alexander, sneaky play, going to Florida comfortably in front. 15-point lead. Will hit 2 minutes to go. Gilgeous Alexander switching hands and the foul. It's the last thing you needed.
Hey, how about Terrence Davis? Fighting is exactly right. He took off, flew. Man was there to take a charge. He just went right around him.
Boy, it looks real.
I'd find Knox again right here.
Gilgeous Alexander to the hole by himself as he 8-point game, under 12 to go.
Place wants to jump, doesn't it? A three and open this up for the crowd, right?
Read my mind. Get out of there.
I don't want to be in there very long.
Pretty move with the left-handed finger roll.
You're either going to make it or you're not, and the margin is very thin.
Cassius Robertson with the answer for Missouri. 5-point game now.
And there's outliers to everything, right? But to say that it doesn't work when LeBron, Kobe, KG, I'm sorry, if the coach isn't there because of something that allegedly happened and has reportedly been wiretapped and figured out, I don't know how the player can go out there because we've seen it too often. Chris Patola did a great job in studio, I thought, saying, look at what happened at SC this year.
Missouri back in front. Barnett has hit 2 triples. He has 8. It's Missouri by 3. I will say this. There's only been one game that DeAndre Ayton hasn't played in this season. They've played 28 games. So if he's ruled ineligible, they have to forfeit their wins. They would go into tonight's game 1-27. They're not making it.
Communication, belief in each other. And how do you demonstrate that on the court? Being there in help side position defensively. Sharing the basketball and loving the joy of getting an assist.
Fixing your partner's pocket square. Gilgeous Alexander gets another bet.
Daniel Gafford is going to be on that path. I was looking at the ESPN.com NBA mock draft today. They had him up to number 15. This is a guy that no one was thinking of as a one and done just earlier. Here's Gilgeous Alexander, baseline, and puts it through. Gafford with 9 points tonight. 4 rebounds. Had a couple of great blocks earlier in this half. Washington against Hall. Barford tries to double. Out to Gilgeous Alexander for 3. And continues.
Every single time Kentucky scores, Macon has been able to come back down and kind of
reestablish the offensive flow for Arkansas. They've got to start stringing together some stops, though, Tess. First half, beginning of this game, they were flying around defensively. They're not. Remember one of the keys I said, they got to play for a full 40. Right now, they've taken some possessions off. They haven't been nearly as active as they've been earlier.
Washington's pass deflected. Shot clock down to 3. And in from SGA. Shai.
Quiet this building is.
Well, a 21-point swing will do that. Gilgeous Alexander. How about more from Kentucky? Four and a half to play. 13-point lead, 24-point swing for Kentucky. Good drive that time by Gilgeous. Curry will be in Lexington for a game on ESPN at 8:15. Arkansas with a tough trip down to Alabama. That game on the SEC network. And life in the SEC, this is what it looks like now, folks. Hottest team was Arkansas. Kentucky had
a long way in connecting with these players in a long season. Trust builds faith, and that's what every coach's goal is. Blind faith. Trust was a big theme of John Calipari's practice yesterday here in Lexington. Young guy, and you don't have older guys really to say, hey, this is what coach is trying to do. They've got to all learn at the same time. Gilgeous Alexander connects. And that time they screen the top. Gilgeous Alexander, short, gets his own rebound, and put back to score. First Auburn turnover.
You know, I do think in the Texas A&M game, who is a monstrous team, by the way. Bryce Brown not being in there in the second half. He got hurt in the first half. I thought that really affected that game. No, they got better. They learned how to play without him against Georgia. But all of a sudden, losing him was good.
Billy Kennedy's team is really playing. Their 2 wins against these 2 teams in the last week were really impressive.
How about that from Gilgeous Alexander? Mustafa Heron.
What a shot. He switches hands. I was watching that in the A&M game. He's unbelievable the way he switches hands at the rim and finishes. He's a natural lefty, but he can finish with either hand.
What a stagnant possession. Nobody running the base, and they've gone away 2 straight possessions from the baseline action.
Gilgeous Alexander turning the corner. Something John Calipari. Tough take by Gilgeous Alexander. He's open for a 3rd opportunity.
See, come on, Coach. How big? The 3 is halfway down to make it a 7-point game. It doesn't go. Now we're 2.
Gilgeous Alexander all the way inside.
Man. I'm telling you, when he's
Calipari, that streak is in jeopardy here tonight in a big way. Dave Fleming, Dan Duckich, Chris Budden with you as we are just getting started. Kentucky, not only the youngest team in the country, arguably the youngest team in the history of college basketball, trying to figure out a way. Spin move. Williams been mostly quiet on the offensive end. Shots aren't falling for TJ Starks right now.
Hey, and that was a really physical block out by Vanderbilt, and Davis is hurt because of it.
25 to shoot. Kentucky, a lot of things have not gone particularly well for the Wildcats. They're only down 1.
I think you got to take right here. I think you got to spread out a little bit and let him go.
And Gilgeous Alexander, the early minutes of this game, he was going right by A&M's defense. Washington down low. Gilgeous Alexander, jumper, good. That's a 3.
Yeah.
That will quiet the crowd. USC, Arizona.
Great game
in Tucson, 10:15 Eastern. Right here on ESPN, on the app. Big one in the Pac-12. I couldn't tell if that was going to be a pass or a shot. It was, but the lead is 20. That's a steal. Gilgeous Alexander. Wow, he was real catch next to each other. An inch or two, maybe. Don't you think?
No.
How many inches?
Like, I'm watching Williams. I think he looks like the biggest guy in the world out there. T-shirts. How many whiteouts, blackouts? How many bobblehead nights when Kentucky comes in, right? So guys are going to play maybe beyond themselves a little bit. But you know what? That's been going on in Kentucky forever.
Knox passed up the jumper. Almost threw it to you. Gilgeous Alexander with that shot blocker there with the left hand. With Billy Kennedy, his head coach. And since then, has been a different player.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, look, I guarantee you some of these Kentucky kids are going to have a heart-to-heart with Coach Cal, and they learned from what Starks has done.
Field gets the roll, and that quiets the crowd and actually sits them back down on their seats.
Tell you what, he's very strong as well. So they got strength physically on that baseline with Williams and certainly Schofield.
Absolutely. His older brother, former NFL.
Just hanging until they can get Williams back on that floor. I think John's got to make a move and get Quaddy Green on the floor. I really do.
Scoop by Gilgeous Alexander.
5 quick points went down.
And Williams getting ready to check back in. So you said, momentum Kentucky, and all of a sudden a 3, a steal, a dunk, and Tennessee's got the lead.
This would be a major win on the road if Tennessee can get it to sweep Kentucky.
Wow, look at that move by Gilgeous Alexander.
Fans, John's very upset with that. You got to get back defensively. Great leak out by Tennessee. Excellent pass, excellent finish.
It's the Gilgeous Alexander. Back in January, a no call went on their favor. Vanderbilt in overtime. Florida lost by 2. A no call that went against them. Every game's gone down to the wire, it seems here. I don't know if I've ever done a game where the whole game's been played in a 7-point window. Tennessee hasn't led by more than 4. Kentucky hasn't led by more than 3.
Unbelievable. Gotta get some movement here.
Pushed off a little bit, got away with it, and knocks it down.
That's the difference, this kid. We know he can drill him deep, but a feel in the lane as well.
Cassius Robertson gives Missouri a 4-point lead.
And Burt back to man. Pinch post handoff.
Gilgeous Alexander.
Pretty.
Nice dribble drive. And that's the 9th Tiger turnover. Kentucky is 2 games behind 8-1 Auburn in the SEC. Knox.
A little more dribble drive and find. Pretty.
Hanging and hitting Gilgeous Alexander.
Nice counter.
6 points for the freshman from East St. Louis, Missouri.
That was like a fist fight, wasn't it, the first half? Look at this easy entree.
Gilgeous Alexander score amongst grad transfers in the country. Push shot, no. Follow goes. Gilgeous Alexander. Just over 2 minutes to play.
Straight up man again.
Gilgeous Alexander scoops it up at midcourt. Uses the Washington screen. Green crosses. Probing.
Beautiful step through.
That is special.
PJ Washington as they rotate over Gilgeous Alexander. Jeff Roberson. Gilgeous Alexander, 6'6". He has a wingspan of 6'10" and a half.
2-3 zone by Vanderbilt. They're going to change up the defense, try to make them uncomfortable.
Just what you talked about there, Sean. Here's Shai. Runner go.
It's a basketball in the second half. By the way, guys, Coach Cal still feeling very much under the weather, but he said he's hanging in there best he can.
Yeah, I told you earlier that he left shoot around earlier today. Moore's been on top of that all night long, but he is hanging in there on the bench. And now let's see if his team can come back against Vandy. Gilgeous Alexander will get a 15-point margin now. Here's Shai. They needed that.
It was fight in the second half against West Virginia that got them that win. Also telling them just now to keep pressing to try to scramble it up and saying, hey, one possession at a time to get back in this thing.
From the elbow and the foul. Back to a double-digit margin. 11-point lead for Vanderbilt.
Just how about the response by Vanderbilt after watching their lead almost completely evaporate here to Kentucky?
From the corner, gets. We talked about, the situation they're in, losing Matthew Fisher-Davis and knowing what's happening with this team and in this tough league. And skipping the roll, there was Gilgeous.
Sloppy ball control that time by Riley LeChance.
Green came away with it. Skip pass to the corner to Shai. Drives, stops, easy, wasn't it? There from Washington as well. Gabriel back out to Gilgeous Alexander, working against Lee. 14-footer. Brown.
That wasn't the look you want to get it for Vanderbilt in that situation.
Kentucky hasn't led since 5 minutes to play in the first. Again, with weight of the world on them. Gilgeous Alexander, reason to make his coach smile, the freshman from Hamilton, Ontario.
You got to remember, right now, Roberson and LeChance, they still have been out there with 4 personal fouls for a long time, Tess.
Here's Shai again.
Oh, come on, Tess.
Blocker there. And it's not like he's 7 feet tall. He is just so quick and explosive off the floor.
Benate 6th in the country in blocks, better than 3 per game. Gilgeous Alexander baseline jumper, and it's a field goal or a free throw. Full court pressure, pressure on the ball, face guarding, and now a trap. West Virginia wants to get you playing at a pace that you don't practice. And they have to make individual plays instead of team plays. Off the glass, a good tough drive. Vanderbilt down with a rebound. And now West Virginia back to man. High ball screen, trying to get some space. And a chance to tie or take the lead. It'll be a tie on the
Weatherspoon, the older of the Weatherspoon brothers. Freshman guard Nick, the younger brother, who's been seeing more time handling the ball.
Instilled confidence, and I think that paid off late in that game when it was so tight.
16 fouls now on Mississippi State.
He's the face of college basketball.
Really year. Is.
Leading the nation in scoring, leading the nation in assists. Oh, what a split by Shai Gilgeous Alexander, partner.
And then gets the finish. Split the defense. There's Nick Weatherspoon. Holman spins, stripped away. Up ahead, Gilgeous Alexander. Better, more competitive, or tougher defensively. Think about some of the talent that he has had through the years. Shai Gilgeous Alexander now is up by 3.
And it's not an outlet pass to your team. I mean, that was such a poor pass, no recognition, no need to make that pass by Sasha Kalea-Jones.
Skip pass from the corner. Now the drive. Gilgeous Alexander with the spin and in. Too much. Too far to the outside. But they're able to corral it. And young Nick is off the mark big time to the left. Gilgeous Alexander. Nice move. Off the glass.
Kentucky's big guys will go for fakes. They will leave the floor.
Stone is at his season average already, just over 4 minutes into the game. Florida coming off a win Wednesday at home against Arkansas. Kentucky coming off a loss Tuesday at South Carolina. Gilgeous.
Florida's the older team. They're on the road. They have to be patient. And you have to make this Kentucky defense break down. It's not going to break down on its own.
Gilgeous Alexander. Hayes again comes up with a loose ball, kicks it out, turns it over. Gilgeous Alexander gives Kentucky the lead.
Absolutely cut up Kentucky on out of bounds underneath. That same alignment. They're just getting a couple of different lob looks. And Kentucky breaking down defensively.
Zoned by the Gators, and Gilgeous Alexander.
Go-ahead three-pointer with 3 minutes to play in that win at Georgia. Had 17 points on 5 of 9 shooting. Gilgeous Alexander.
Put the pressure on them. Certainly couldn't get it to go, and on the go now is Knox. Up ahead, here's Vanderbilt. Leaves it for the trailing Gilgeous Alexander.
There's a chemistry issue. There's a connection issue for Kentucky. Where do you want the ball? Where are you most successful when you catch and you're able to make plays?
Gilgeous Alexander, 18-footer goes down.
And all part of the Saturday showcase as soon as we're done here in Nashville.
Okay, one thing Notre Dame really hurting right now with those injuries. Johnson holds it. I think they're getting that foul back. It's going to be a big plus for them. Not playing today, Ohio State.
Sweet off the glass for Gilgeous. Losing it on the way up to save the lead.
Save the lead super quick. Look at John Calipari racing up that sideline. Oh, it's fun to watch them try to coach here. I'm really surprised how they get the ball inside as easy on Kentucky. The Vandy fans, they love it. They love it. What a great city Nashville is. I love Nashville. They zone it. They're going to make them shoot the three.
Knocking it down from the corner is Gilgeous.
We've been talking about the three. They're 1 for 11. So Kentucky's done a great job with their perimeter defense. Little switch, stepped out, little head.
Gilgeous Alexander, a running one-hander is.
Last year he made a lot of big deciding plays. Mike White was very high on him when I spoke to him before I had the game with Vandy in Florida. Florida been really playing well, but they got beat in the wacky world of the SEC. They got beat today by Mississippi.
Stutter step dribble work.
So a little seam, attacked it off the bounce, very aggressive. He's going to be a special player here, Bob. He really has that unbelievable quickness that you can't teach.
Vandy's got 13 points here in the second half, and Lee has 7 of the 13.
Too easy.
Should have been an and one.
You could make an argument like Mason Mantle. You could fight about it, I believe, when he takes his shoes off. But I agree with you today.
Gilgeous Alexander banks it home.
Can't stop.
3 in the league, but they are getting healthier. They are closer to their true selves tonight than they've been recently. Kentucky is without Quade Green tonight. He is out with a back injury, and that's why the guy with the ball, Shai Gilgeous Alexander, is starting instead of coming off the bench. Let's take a look at the starting lineups tonight, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. It is still 5 freshmen for Kentucky. The only change, Gilgeous Alexander, who gets the scoring start.
Boy, just an easy drive by DJ Hogue, and having Hogue and Gilder on the floor gives Texas A&M 2 wings that you have to go out and guard. And when they were out, you didn't have to guard outside the lane. And now that's given a complete spread of the defense, spread of the floor, and a stretch of the defense. It's been really hard to deal with for opponents.
Suspended for one reason or another. All of the suspensions are over now that Hogue is back, but they're not quite clear of the injuries just yet, although they are getting healthier. Gilbert is back, but Dwayne Wilson, a grad transfer from Marquette, still not back. And there's Gilgeous against them, right? Just pack it in and make them make jump shots.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why I think you're gonna see them try to get the ball inside to P.J. Washington and let him work inside.
Kevin Knox out on the perimeter right now. Gilgeous Alexander to the left hand again.
Both Williams and Tyler Davis do a good job of sealing off. Just locked the defender on the high side.
Williams, the guy who's missed time this year for a suspension, a concussion, and the flu. He's missed a total of 5 games. The guy who thought about going pro, but his name in the draft decided to come back. Been a bit of a tough year for him. But over the shot fake, gets to the free throw line, kicks it out. Gilgeous Alexander off the glass, no, follow, yes.
Grant Williams going to work. Has that one adjusted.
Great defense by P.J. Washington.
Gilgeous-Alexander off the window and in.
It's a very confident defense.
Deep into the bench, Mayan Kerr has entered the game for LSU. Randy Onwuser is entered as well. Kentucky only one make in its last 7 possessions. That'll end. Net from the corner.
They're not all that big and tall. There are a couple players like Reef inside, but they must rebound, and Kentucky's going to pound it if they can. That's why you'll see LSU sit back a little bit defensively, make the Wildcats take a jump shot, and can't allow that.
Unbelievable play. Kentucky can't guard him. They're taking the ball from side to side. They threw a hammer pass, bad closeout, drove the ball to the middle. Tremont Waters, a little kid for LSU, number 3, the freshman point guard, who I love. He thinks he should be at Kentucky. He has that type of confidence and moxie about him. Get a little bit better at it, LSU. And here's another 3-pointer. Off the rim. Kentucky went zone. It's a big zone, and that big zone can bother number 3 from LSU because he's only about 5'9". Much more of a...
Now, can LSU keep Kentucky out of the paint? Back to the man-to-man.
Gilgeous-Alexander for the first 12 attempts, but since then just 2 of 11.
Had a lot of success with Knox on the move and trying to cut into the lane, posting him up.
Knox waiting in the left wing here. Gilgeous-Alexander gets free. Another layup. Career high. Stolen away by Gabriel on the offensive glass.
Wow, what hustle. The quickness.
Green, mismatch. And they'll switch back. Gilgeous-Alexander off the window. It's a 2. Have dropped.
And this crowd is kind of buzzing right now just in anticipation of wanting to see this team be aggressive.
There's Gilgeous-Alexander on the drive. That's what Kentucky needs. 5% from the line. Team leader in assists and steals. And he just got another one. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
On a teammate. They brought the double team on him, unable to handle it. And Georgia goes back to its zone. They've been doing a nice job trying to mix it up, change things to try to keep Kentucky off balance. This is where you might not need to bring some help.
Gilgeous-Alexander, a 3. Jordan Harris, and they come out of possession where Mayton didn't touch it, and Georgia scores anyway. Here's Gilgeous-Alexander, 10 to shoot. On Jackson with the 4 fouls, he scores.
1 on 3 can't happen.
We mentioned the game that Snyder had last year with Louisville against Kentucky. Career high 22 points. And what was really his breakout moment. It's a corner 3 and it's good. Shai. Here's Snyder back onto the floor. A little bit off balance.
Richards with a great job though. Walled up. Prevented that little baby hook. He's got his guy in there.
That banging down on his back, but instead, Gilgeous-Alexander goes the other way.
I think they could use their bigs a little bit more. Don't settle deep.
But you don't appreciate Kentucky's size until you see them in person. They're so long. Where do they go here? Shot clock down to 4. Here comes Gilgeous-Alexander.
Don't start with that.
What a huge. Not even close. Darius Perry, the freshman. Wow, Darius. Into the game for the first time. So under a minute to play, first half. In a storied rivalry between Louisville and Kentucky. This is Gilgeous-Alexander. Contact. And he.
Louisville, you got those big guys looming large. Kentucky, much better defensively.
Well, Louisville's win over Kentucky last year at Louisville, Bell had that huge game, tied a then career high with his 18 points, a couple of big threes. And so this has been a far different story here.
Gilgeous gets to see them all the time, so he's doing well. Seems to be in great health. And he said this team, he was so disappointed in the UCLA game. He said, this is the way they're supposed to play. They play like this, they're going to have a fine year.
Pretty sure they still pick up a few checks for Joe and some of them
are going to be in the tournament this year.
It's Ryan McMahon a little bit short. There's no second chance opportunities down the stretch here for the Cardinals.
Richards on the floor. Once again, a big presence defensively. Really got this game going, I thought, in their favor. Finish underneath. I thought we were going to have a very competitive game, as we did early. Misuse, that's not Louisville. Just let it go.
Easy deuce.
Nice steal. Bad pass out. Barry is back.
Hit Diallo or challenging Mahmoud. Washington no. Gabriel turned back by Mahmoud.
Well, they are not backing off, are they? Relentless.
Kentucky doing some work on the offensive glass. Gilgeous Alexander
today. You know, the way both coaches are experiencing it, difficulty with freshmen, getting to adjust, concentrate, be ready. Speaking of freshman, Alexander's a coach because you're using it now. They made the three. I better get out of this. I'll see if he'll ride it a little bit more.
Wow, what they have done in the last basically 8 minutes of action has been remarkable. UCLA, that is. There's a runner. That stops. I like your story better, actually.
Where do you go? I'd like to see Knox get something.
Runner, pretty tough shot.
Rick Barnes has got a club that's really improved from last year. I saw them on one of their games out there in the Bahamas. Very athletic. Kid Williams inside. He's a dangerous threat.
SEC, a good-looking league as Gilgeous Alexander knocks down. Boy, good effort by Diallo. He just takes it away. Knox somehow keeps possession and stays in bounds.
Oh, right on the defense. Good cut.
Gilgeous Alexander with a tipped away by Gilgeous Alexander and saved into the hands of the Cats.
Not a good entry from up on top.
They can hold it if they want to, if they realize shot clock's turned off. Just 20 seconds, and now they see it.
The kid that's got to do more on the inside and drive the basketball is Kevin Knox. He has a tendency, we said in the first game, I see the same here. He stands and he's too easy to guard because he's not mobile and not active enough.
Gilgeous Alexander with a runner. It's a 6-point game.
Dark Gems.
Absolutely. So we've got a terrific crowd here. Obviously, wherever Kentucky goes in the country, they draw a crowd, and Monmouth is only about an hour south of here on the Jersey Shore, and so they've got a couple thousand fans who have made the trip up. Shai Gilgeous.
Especially with the New York Yankees, it's about winning games and ultimately winning titles.
Yeah, until you lose 3 in a row, second week of April, and they're screaming at you.
Yeah, it's going to happen at some point.
Yeah. With Herm Edwards now going to Arizona State as
one on this crew.
Oh, there's no question. No question. I think that goes without saying. All right, Jill, please come.
Things slow down a little bit for them. Right now, a 7-point lead and the basketball.
Yeah, they might rather play more games. They've got Camp Cal coming up because when you go to the holiday break and there's no school, you can practice as much as you want. And that's a time where Kentucky traditionally has gotten better.
Gilgeous Alexander.
Guys that can make it. There's nobody on Rio Haskett there. That was wide open three. Those poor ball screen coverage up top by Kentucky. Yeah, it's not going to be a weapon. It's something they can get better at, and there are other guys I think they can.
Kingston, Jamaica, and only picked up the sport of basketball at age 14.
Well, in his game against Fort Wayne decided to double and trap the other bigs, not thinking Richards is as big of a threat. And
he completes the three-point play. Gilgeous Alexander calls his own number and hits the mid-range.
Hollenberg for the win. I like it.
I have never played ping pong against someone with a 7'1" wingspan, and I probably never will again. So I'll walk away with that 1 point and 1 point only.
You're like my older siblings. You go up and then you go inside and don't give me a chance to come back.
30 seconds left. 17-point Kentucky lead. 10 on the shot clock. Here's Gilgeous Alexander, and he'll have a chance.
Teammate of mine at the Nike camp, I joked with him earlier today. I said, yeah, you had a little bit longer career. You got a little bit more attention at those camps than I did. But, man, he's the same guy, same dude. The insight and perspective from those guys.
Dan Mullen, rumored to be the leader in the clubhouse right now for the Florida job.
40 straight minutes. He'll be known as one of the tough guys in the whole country.
Richards pulls down the rebound. Shai Gilgeous Alexander underneath the reverse.
Really good in this first half. I mean, Fort Wayne was not doubling him to start the game, but they've had to now.
Gilgeous Alexander just kind of baited.
Not with threes, though. They did it defensively.
Gilgeous Alexander with the steal and the jam.
Have the best player on the court at all times. When you look across the SEC, some of the talent that's within this league, you look at Alabama, even Colin Sexton on a hot night, the way he's playing as a freshman point guard. Watch out.
Bryson Scott can't get the three to go. Another rebound. Well, Nick Richards filling up the stat line tonight. 25 points and 14 boards. There's two more. What'd you tell Brad before the game? How soon you want him to get a shot up?
Yeah, I said if you're in the game within the first 8 seconds and it doesn't go up, I'm going to be very disappointed. Just a great example of a guy scoring before he ever catches the basketball. Terrific position by Bernardo.
Gilgeous Alexander slid.
Great post up, great steal, and also a great pass inside there.
Gilgeous Alexander with the left hand.
They're starting to play hard, and we start to get out the loose balls.
And when we get to January and February, Antoine, are those plays that they convert?
Oh, without question. It's just that fast break play right there. That'll be a layup. That'll be a complete dunk right there.
Committee that Coach Cal is on, along with Mike Slide, the former SEC commissioner, to address some of the issues facing college basketball.
As a 2-year guy, I'm a little bit biased, in which I think 2 years is perfect for guys. It gives you a year to work on your body and get yourself together to really prepare for the next level. But I understand sometimes my guys need other questions.
Kentucky really right now, the young players having a very difficult time defensively.
They don't have anybody anywhere near the size and strength of Azubuike. Baseline jumper, Gilgeous Alexander, and that'll snap for into the game for Kansas. So we've now seen all 7 available scholarship players for the Jayhawks. Rebound for Richards.
Too much one-on-one right there. Got to get more ball movement. Got to get player movement.
Nice little crossover and finish for Gilgeous Alexander. Feels he's going to get more out of Newman. You were talking about than he's getting right now. They're still getting acclimated.
He's so talented. In high school, he was as good as it gets.
And Jerrance Howard, one of the assistants for Kansas, recruited him hard, but he decided to stay home, go to Mississippi State. But once he decided to transfer, quickly reconnected with Howard and decided to come to Lawrence. Shot clock at 2.
Kentucky wanted him also.
Wow. Soft rim, soft touch for
Trey Bell Haynes, the America East Conference Player of the Year a year ago, turns it over.
That's intentional. Yeah. They've been a step slow in the early stages of this one. You look for energy. I look for number 32 in white to provide it. See if they get something going down here offensively. Nothing smooth in the early stages.
Green skip pass. Gilgeous Alexander knocks down the 3 from the wing. That's 6'6" and 6'5" at the top of that zone. And another turnover. Here's Gilgeous Alexander with the step through. And 1. Too much dribbling by Ogby forces the turnover. Gilgeous Alexander again.
The zone has made Utah.
Gabriel. Gilgeous Alexander at the other end.
And they don't.
Fresh 30 for the Cats with only 1:40 to go in the contest. Both these teams with tough follow-up games after tonight. Utah Valley travels to Duke tomorrow, and the Catamounts of Vermont come in here to Rupp Arena on Sunday.